People should be afraid of me because I'm 6 feet tall and 360 pounds, and I move as if I were half that weight. My character's the Canadian Crusher, AJ Sanchez. He's a brash, very, very outgoing, not afraid to tell you what's up kind of guy that's also going to punch you in the mouth and then just tell you about that too. Doesn't like to stop talking. I started training to be a pro wrestler in April of 2002. I actually debuted in the ring in May of 2002, so my training was very, very short. My strengths as far as pro wrestling have definitely got to be my mouth. I can talk like no one's business. The match this weekend, quite possibly one of the biggest tag team matches in all of Canadian wrestling's elite history. Myself and Kevin O'Doyle, the Boston Bruiser and the Canadian Crusher, the Bruiser and the Crusher, step foot in the ring with Tyler Colton, the Canadian Hercules, and Danny Duggan, who are the CWE Tag Team Champions right now.
I am Hotshot Danny Duggan. Currently, I am the CWE Champion and Tag Team Champion. I got into professional wrestling at the age of 12 years old, believe it or not, here locally in Winnipeg. Big time fan as a child growing up. A local company by the name of River City Wrestling, they were running an ad for their wrestling school. So being naive, I thought at 12 years old I could be a professional wrestler because that's what I wanted to be when I grew up. I took the number down. I waited till my parents were in bed because they sure weren't going to let me call. And around midnight, I called the promoter and he told me, you know, you're probably a little too young to start wrestling at this age, but you're more than welcome to come down and start helping out at the events. And that's exactly what I started doing. I started carrying like the ring jackets to the back and ringing the bell and all that kind of stuff. And then as I got a little bit older, I started refereeing. And when I was 15, I had my first professional wrestling match. Man, I'm the best at everything. I wouldn't be a very good wrestler if I told you I wasn't. No, my strengths as a wrestler, I would say, you know, what makes Hotshot Danny Duggan so successful in the world of independent wrestling is my ability to connect with an audience. Whether I'm a good guy or a bad guy, you put me in front of an audience, big or small, I'm gonna have them either loving me or hating me by the time it's all said and done. Why should you watch my match coming up with AJ? Well, it is for the CWE Tag Team Championship, so my partner Tyler Colton will be in my corner and Kevin O'Doyle will be in his corner. But for fans who are familiar with WWE, we have a very special enforcer in WWE Hall of Famer, the world's strongest man, Mark Henry, out there to make sure the odds are even. So he's enough of a reason to come down and check it out. Me breaking AJ's arm and snapping it off his body is reason number 2.
Those matches have a lot of psychology to them. There's a lot of gamesmanship between Danny and AJ in the course of their matches. The verbal taunts, the pacing of a match. Generally, AJ tries to control and will try to throw Danny off his game a little bit. And the matches never fail to garner the interest of the fans. They are both very skilled at drawing the crowd into the match and getting them emotionally invested in what's going on.
Mine and Danny's relationship is a very love-hate relationship. We have fought each other all over the world, inside and outside of the ring. He's one of my favorite opponents. He's one of my hated opponents. You know, we seem to gel well together.
AJ Sanchez and myself go way back. We've been best friends. We've been not so best friends over the years. And you know, I talked about my first match. The first match I had in my career, I was going to schedule to wrestle that night, and it was AJ that drove me to my house to pick up my gear because somebody didn't show up and I needed to fill a spot. Wrestling AJ is a lot of fun. It can be very painful because he's a 370-pound man, but it's a lot of fun because he's very much like me, where he's very passionate about professional wrestling. He lives this just the way I do, and when he goes out there, that's when he's in his glory. It's a rivalry it's definitely probably one of the best in Canada, if not the best.
That's when you want to hook and be able to come back with this.
Ever since I got to CWE, in my mind, AJ Sanchez and Danny Duggan have been the 2 main guys here, so it's going to be one hell of a match and battle of the best, in my opinion.
Proper position, yeah, there you go.
You have 2 guys that went all over the world, wrestled all over the world. Years of experience at their prime and their peak. Going at it for the Ultimate Championship.
Who do I think will win? I've seen them wrestle before, and pretty sure ever since I got here, Danny is 2-0 against AJ, so I'm going to have to go with Danny again.
AJ Sanchez. He's gonna do whatever it takes. He's gonna bring people out. He's gonna lie. He's gonna cheat. And he's ultimately gonna win the championship.
Colton using a power move to set up Danny using the crippler crossface. That's been a winning combination for them. And if it's going to be what's called a clean ending, a determinative finish, then I'm sure that that's what they would build towards, because I don't think I've seen anybody get out of the crossface once Duggan has it properly applied.
But I've been using the crippler crossface submission, and that's because late last year, his partner, you can see it right here, they tore my pectoral muscle right off the bone. They tore my bicep, which has got a nice little dip in there. So to get some retribution, I went back to the drawing board, did some studying, and I came up with one to get them right back. So for the last few months, I've been snatching them in those and been tearing their arm off their shoulder and their neck off their head. So it's been working effectively.
In 2015, I was involved in a head-on car collision coming home from my real job, and what happened there was I shattered my hip, fractured my pelvis, I broke my left wrist, my left hand, I peeled off an eyelid a little bit, as you can see the scar here, broke my nose, concussions, and all that fun stuff. I spent 6 weeks in the hospital and 14 months out of action. Coming back from the accident, again, I was in the hospital for about 6 weeks, unable to walk. It was about 4 weeks bedridden, not able to move, not able to walk. Finally, we got crutches, and as time went on, we were able to put a little more weight on the hip and on the leg there, because I have steel and pins and screws in my hip. So after about 6 weeks, they discharged me from the hospital. I was on crutches for another 3 months. Before actually being able to put some weight down and start walking again. The feeling after coming back from an accident like that was a very serious one. I didn't know if I would come back at all. Doctors told me that I probably shouldn't even be running because I have no cartilage left on my hip. So the plan was not to come back and do a whole lot of wrestling, but to take selective bookings. It was scary, it was worrisome. You don't know if your body's gonna hold up. You don't know how things are gonna go. I've been very blessed though, and I'm probably busier than I ever have been. So we're just hoping for the best from here on out.
People have questioned, who's the better wrestler? Is it Hotshot Danny Duggan? Is it AJ Sanchez? And I've said time and time again, hard work prevails. And as good as AJ is, he's lazy. You look around this gym right now, Hotshot Danny Duggan is in this gym. The only gym AJ Sanchez and Kevin O'Doyle are at is Jim's Fish and Chips getting ready for this match. So they can continue stuffing their faces, we're gonna continue lifting weights, getting things done. And that is why you need to see that match, because we are gonna walk out champions.
Scheduled for one fall.
If you're on the fence, if you were never a wrestling fan before, or you used to be, come down, check it out, because there's no comparison to watching live professional wrestling live. There's no comparison to being this far from the ring and watching the bodies fly and the wrestlers interact with you. And that's why we have the track record we do, because people come through that door for the first time and they don't leave. You still see a lot of those same fans at each and every show, and they're so supportive. They'll be at every show, big or small, and it's really a tight-knit community. To go from just having a good local base of talent and from the provinces surrounding us to having wrestlers come to us from all over the world. It's really cool that we've made Winnipeg a destination city for professional wrestling.
I think about my opponents, Danny Duggan and Tyler Colton. One word runs through my head, and that word is hatred. I hate those guys, I can't stand those guys, and it's gonna feel real good beating them in the center of that ring for those tag team titles.
Kevin O'Doyle and AJ Sanchez have done a lot of damage to Hotshot Danny Duggan over the last year, so I don't think very much of them. But tonight, I'm gonna think even less when I put them to bed for good.
How does it feel? I'm a champion. I mean, that's what I do. I'm used to being a champion, but it feels great knowing that I beat Danny and then I beat Tyler. I mean, check it. This is what champions look like. Kevin O'Doyle, AJ Sanchez, CWE Tag Team Champions. What do you expect?
How do you think I feel about that match? If you look beside me, I've got 1 championship. Before that match, I had 2. I will live to fight another day. I will live to win more championships. This was supposed to be over. It's far from it.